Professor Lavelle, the Arctic is not a topic that Clevelanders hear about a lot in the news. Tell us why people here in Northeast Ohio should care about what's going on there.
I think for people who live here, there's probably three main things that will affect us in the next couple of years, and probably sooner rather than later. So one of them has to do with the ice melt and how it's going to affect how people live in the Arctic. So we know that in politics, immigration is a really important issue across the globe. And as certain parts of the world will become unlivable, people are going to have to move. The other thing is we know the Arctic is melting again at a faster rate even than other parts of the planet. And as a result of that, we know that permafrost is melting. And what that means is that diseases that have been trapped for thousands of years will become a problem. We know things like mercury will pose health challenges to those of us who live all over the world, but also in Northeast Ohio. And the third big thing I think it's really important to remember for most of us who live here in places like Ohio and what people in Alaska call the lower 48 is just the whole climate and weather patterns changing. So we've always shoveled snow. We know all about cold weather here in Cleveland, but I think what it will change is the increasing causes that come directly from these high pressure ridges that form, and they form in the atmosphere. The way I understand it is that they trap hot air, they trap cold Arctic air, and that's when the jet stream becomes unstable because of this melting ice in the Arctic that is changing the way we will be able to farm and the way we'll be able to live our lives outdoors.
You talked about how the melting ice will change our climate and our weather here in Cleveland. Talk about the economic and national security implications of a changing Arctic.
Right, I think we've always had the Arctic as our kind of front line in the Cold War against Russia, so that's not necessarily new. As you pointed out, the NATO alliance means that of the countries that border on the Arctic Ocean, Russia's kind of left out now because it's the only country that is not a member of NATO. But there's been a historic spirit of cooperation in the Arctic, and also on science. There's been a lot of bilateral scientific cooperation between the United States and Russia that could give us hope. Both countries' dynamic changed with submarine warfare. So the ability to bring a submarine up close under the ice is very different when the ice is gone, because it's obviously not under the ice. And so the dynamics of the American and Russian relations will definitely change. Unclear whether or not it'll be for better or for worse, depending on how our politics goes. We've had the current administration talk both ways about cooperation with Russia on some things in the oil and gas industry.